What is going on, Diablo 2 fans? Dabrunski here, and today I'm going to be showcasing a 641 strength investment teleporting wolf barbarian build. Now this character is basically a spin-off of the previous video that I just uploaded on my channel. That was an Ubers versus wolf barb setup, but I wanted to tweak things a little bit, make it a teleporting based players versus monster setup. Like all of my previous build videos, timestamps will be in the description below, so if you guys want to bounce back and forth between the attributes, the gear, or the gameplay, they're there for you guys to use, so please take advantage of them. And a quick reminder, I often tweak and play around with these characters live on stream. I stream twice a week on Twitch. Link is also in the description below, twitch.com/Dabrunski125. So if you guys could give me a follow there, I'd really appreciate it. But guys, hope you enjoyed this video. Let's jump in. I spent a lot of time talking about the pros and the cons associated with the wolf barb in the previous Ubers video that I made on my channel, so I just want to jump right into the attributes and the skill tree for this particular PVM teleporting setup. So you probably guessed it when I mentioned 641 strength investment. I don't have anything invested into energy, nothing into vitality. I have 136 into dex, that's just enough to equip a phase blade because I'm wielding grief, more on that when we jump into the gear. And then I have everything else, every single stat investment point put into strength for a total of 641. Now the resistances for this character, I have 75 lightning, 47 cold, 75 fire, and 47 poison. That's pretty solid overall, I think, with 869 life before battle orders and then 234 mana before battle orders. Now that might seem a little low, and it is, but remember, once I fully buff up with battle command and bow, then I shapeshift into werewolf, which gives me even more life. So I'm resting just above 2000 health with this setup that doesn't have a single point invested into vitality. The skill investment for your wolf barb is very interesting because you're only ever using two skills, werewolf and feral rage. There's no other barbarian combat skill that you can use while you're in werewolf form. So as you can see, for the combat skill tree, I don't have a single point invested anywhere. No whirlwind, no berserk, no frenzy, nothing, because you cannot use a single one of these skills when you're in werewolf form. But for the Warcry skill tree, I have 1 hard point into Howl, and then a completely maxed Shout, completely maxed battle orders, and then I have 1 into battle command. So I get a huge 390% buff to defense with Shout, and then I get 122% the max stamina, max life, and max mana with my level 30 battle orders. And then for combat masteries, I completely maxed sword mastery. That is because the main weapon that I'm wielding is grief and a phase blade, so I wanted to make sure that I got the extra damage from wielding sword weapons. And then I have 1 hard point in increased stamina. Then I completely maxed Iron Skin for a total of 290% enhanced defense. Then I completely maxed natural resistance. Now this might seem a little bit weird. Usually on most meta barbarian builds you only have 1 point invested into natural res, but because I'm not putting points into the combat skill tree, there's a lot of leftover skill points, so I just completely maxed that for a total of 72% additional all res. And then I put my remaining 2 points that were left over into increased speed just to get faster run walk, which actually kind of complements the build surprisingly well with the faster run walk from increased speed, Enigma, and then also feral rage when it's fully buffed up. So I'm really only going to briefly touch on the gear because I did dive into a lot of the specifics on the Ubers wolf barb setup. We're really just going to focus on the kind of gear swaps with a quick overview. So the main pieces that I changed from the previous setup is on Switch. Instead of using Ribcracker for more crushing blow to get the Uber's health down a little bit quicker, I'm using dual Hodos. This is basically for teleporting purposes. I get a higher FCR breakpoint and then +6 to boost my battle orders. And for the body armor, we're using Enigma because I wanted a teleport version of this character instead of using Fortitude on the Uber setup. And then for the gloves, instead of instead of Drax for the life tap, I'm using Laying of Hands for the increased attack speed, enhanced damage to demons, and 50% fire res. It's just a lot more total overall damage. Everything else is identical though to the Uber's video, so I'm using Grief on the main hand, Beast on the offhand, High Lords, Wolf Howl, Dungos, Ravenfrost, a Mana Leech Ring, Gore Riders, and then a full inventory of max damage, AR life, small charms, and grand charms with a torch and an Annie. Now for the mercenaries gear, I tweaked things a little bit from the Uber setup, so that was using Treachery, G-Face, and Infinity for the Conviction Aura to lower their defense so it could hit more often, and then also having a lot of additional crushing blow. But I went a different route. I'm using Reaper's Toll with a Ruby Jewel of Fervor, and then I paired that with an E-Bugged Balrog Skin Fortitude, and then an Ethereal Andariel's Visage with an IES Fire-Res Jewel. Now, the reason why I think this works really well with this particular build is because you'll see when I'm doing the gameplay, but I'll actually Telestomp into the Sen of the Monsters on my offhand, and then I'll transform into werewolf form, and then he'll be proccing Decrep everywhere, and then I switch to my main hand that has Grief and Fanaticism, and then I just start attacking away. It's a very fun and cool, interesting build to play, and I think that the Reaper's Toll and the Decrepify proc actually really complements the build very well. Now, if I was going to run a Fortitude setup where it was just running everywhere, Reaper's Toll is a good option, but I also think a really viable choice is using the Rumored Pride. The Concentration Aura is really going to boost your Druid's damage, or sorry, I should say your Barb's damage and Druid shapeshifting form, but it's going to make your Mercenary not do very much damage at all, but you're going to be running around so fast that it's actually going to be difficult to have the Mercenary around to proc Decrep, so it's definitely a viable option in my opinion, specifically for a shapeshifting setup. So in order to basically demonstrate the effectiveness of using Teleport and then shapeshifting with the Reaper's Toll Mercenary, I thought it'd be cool to showcase this build doing a Bail Run, so we're going to go down to the Throne Room on players 1, do the waves on players 7, and then actually complete Bail on players 3, because the experience is capped out at P3 for those that don't know. And you guys can kind of compare the clear speed of this build to your Frenzy Barb, your Whirlwind Barb, and basically any other melee character, but I think it's right up there. It's very close, I think, in terms of damage output. The gameplay is kind of unique too as well, so I think you guys will really enjoy this build. But a important point to note about shapeshifting and telestomping, you're going to want to do it all on the dual Hodo side, especially shapeshifting, because those extra +6 skills is a higher werewolf form. And then you're going to want to go to your main hand, which has Grief and Beast, to attack with Feral Rage for the extra damage and have your Mercenary hitting faster breakpoints, rocking Decrep more, etc. So I have kind of god-awful Bail map, but just for the purpose of demonstrating the build, I'm not going to roll a good Bail map. The life and mana is a little bit brutal. I mean, we're 1500 after bow and then 2000 in werewolf form, but we're doing that specifically to have a lot of extra points invested into strength for more damage. But basically, okay, there's a cool boss back here. So Telestomp, Shapeshift, and then switch to your main hand, and that's going to get the Decrep proc. And you have to be a little bit careful having only 2k health on higher difficulty setting. You're not going to want to Telestomp with amp damage, that's for sure.
I can't.
And then when you want to just go to your offhand again, Telestomp, Shapeshift, and then back to the main hand. There's 7. Telestomp the wave. Shapeshift and then main hand. Get that Decrep proc for extra damage. Just completely destroy the first wave there. Now do keep in mind that you could invest more points into Vitality for a little bit extra survivability. Telestomp, Shapeshift, and then main hand. Get that Decrep to just really increase our damage output. This is, I mean, I think, in my opinion, a pretty fast player 7 player speed. You gotta watch wave 3. Can take mercenaries out. Telestomp, Shapeshift, main hand. That's all you gotta do. Now wave 4 and 5 we will, that's Stone Skin. Stone Skin and we still rip through it. Wave 4 and 5 we're gonna kind of pull them away from Bail because I don't want to actually be decrept when I Telestomp, because they can be pretty powerful waves. Let's see, nothing. No loot. Yeah, just to avoid that curse, we'll kind of move these guys, and then Telestomp, Shapeshift. But that's the beauty about using this build in Enigma, is just being able to reposition the Mercenary, because we all know how horrible Merc's AI is. without Enigma. But I mean, I think that was a pretty fast... I think that was a pretty fast player 7. Wave 4. And we'll show you guys wave 5. As long as I don't get some crazy bad combo. So pull them away, no decrep. Belly Stomp, Shapeshift. And switch to the main hand, get the Fanaticism. This Feral Rage these guys away. Now my Bale kill might be a little bit slow because I don't have a lot of Crushing Blow. My only Crushing Blow source is Gore Riders. But I think we'll be okay. As long as we can kind of stop him from teleporting. So we're definitely getting a little unlucky there. This is definitely a little bit unlucky for proccing Crushing Blow. And Decrep. A little bit slow Bale kill, but definitely think that the waves went by pretty smoothly. So boom, that was a Bale run. So that Bale run was kind of a cool demonstration, but I want to do a quick Chaos Sanctuary run as well. We'll do the Seals on players 3, and then we'll do Diablo on players 7, just because Desace and stuff with amp damage and only having an 859 health barb prior to battle orders can be a little hectic. So we'll just do players 3 Seals instead. It's the same idea though. If you really wanted to, you could actually rock something like 2 Wiz Spikes and an FCR ring, and you could get 105 FCR instead of the 63 FCR breakpoint. Oh, gotta hit the seal. Okay. Oh. Belly Stomp, Shapeshift, main hand. We're just sitting right here in the center. Mercenary's not running around doing stupid stuff. Rocking Reaper's Toll, and we're just completely wrecking everything. Even with like Decrep, curses, whatever. Now we're gonna kind of be a little cautious with Desace, especially with have Amp on me here. He's off on his own. Let's get out of there. But the mobility is just really cool with this build. Playing around with the tele-stomping stuff is really neat. Tele-stomp, Shapeshift, main hand, boom. There's 7. The only thing is the lack of Crushing Blow. It's basically kind of the only run killer for endgame bosses. They only have the 15 coming off of Gore Riders, but super tanky character, tons of life leak with Feral Rage, and the ability to tele-stomp with 641 strength investment. Well guys, there you have it. That wraps up my teleporting Wolf Barb with 641 strength investment. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, kind of playing around with tele-stomping, using the Reaper's Toll Mercenary for Decrep, and then shape-shifting into Werewolf form. It's a very fun build to play, very powerful as well. I think you can't really argue against the fact that it went through player 7 Bale Waves pretty quick. Maybe not right on par with the Whirlwind Barb, but I think it's a really cool, fun character to play. Let's make the Wolf Barbarian great again. But guys, as always, if you could throw a like on this video, share it, and even consider subscribing if you're new to my channel. I post new weekly content on YouTube, and I stream twice a week on Twitch. So a follow on Twitch and a sub on YouTube would be amazing. Other than that, guys, hope you have a fan-frickin-tastic day, and I'll catch you on my next video or live stream. Peace out.